What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys, and of course, as always, the famliest of Fridays.
Yeah, Fan Friday in the house, guys. Welcome back for another one here as we kick into the weekend here on MCF. Another Cowboys chat, Fan Friday style, and we're going to discuss draft. Stephen Jones spoke in a quickie here tonight on My Cowboys Family. Before we can even get going, baby, remind everybody, we got to hit that like,
subscribe,
notification bell,
follow us anywhere and everywhere at My Cowboys Family, and of course hop into the Discord link for that's in the description box down below.
Yeah, guys, as we open up the door, we welcome in, guys, to MCF. We're going that navy blue, silver, and star, always repping it here in My Cowboys Family. But on top of that, we got to give the big shout outs to those here that run the show, the sponsor of the week, the Cash App King, the leaders of the board, the stream bosses here. Well, you see the names on the screen, guys. First and foremost, the man Snug X. You know why he's here. The beauty of the channel and repping that star for everything. Much love to Snug X, who's our sponsor of the week with a battle with Marco Sepian on Sunday that was for the ages. He's also currently the king of the Cash App. It is the man Snug X, and he took that from Jason Renfro. So he's right now in first place. He's rolling this whole week, repping that top of the board. Marco Sepian still holding it down in the stream boss with 87 points. Much love to him. Marco Sepian is also in first place on that board over my head, over Snug's head. Yes. Here. You see Marco Sepian in first place, Snug in second place. And this week, there is no Snug X in the lead in the Cash App, but there was a drop yesterday, guys. I'd say, I guess it was last night, post-stream by the great Trent M. I know some people don't know him. He's on the late show here over at the Mosh channel. And he was responsible for a $30 Cash App holler. Go Cowboys, all the way from Australia. Much love to Trent M, who's right now on the board above there in third place. And also, as you can see, the leader in the Cash App side.
Yes.
The leader on the overall board still Marco Sepian. And you got Snug X right behind him. And then, of course, outside of Trent M, Skeptical Fan, also on the board. He also kicked off the pre-stream love here. Skeptical Fan with a $3.32 holler here through the paper. We'll explain in a minute through that stream live link.
And he put his message. I would say try hopping out and hopping back in. I'm not sure why it's not letting you vote there, but he said with his $3.32 holler, in Will McClay, I trust.
Those facts.
It's tempting to get BIJAN Robinson if he's there.
And that's what we're going to discuss tonight. I want to discuss the pros and cons on this and the likeliness.
Yes, and you do see it there. I see a few of you guys already mentioning it. But yes, guys, we do have a poll right now. Go ahead and vote how good and or bad you might feel if the Cowboys were to have Bijan available at 26 and made the move to get him.
Not even how you feel if they move, if they make it. And again, this is at 26. This is not moving up. This is not trading down. This is staying at 26. And Bijan happens to be there. The Cowboys draft them. How would you feel about that if the Cowboys were to consider draft? How would you feel? Would you want to draft him and he's there at 26 or not? And we're going to discuss something based on the running back position. Not even about Bijan. It's versus usage by running backs in this day and age. And is it worth? We talked about the monetary aspect of it last night. 7th highest running back. Whoever gets him is going to be the 7th highest running back. Pay-wise.
7th highest paid running back.
Yeah, 7th highest paid running back in the NFL. In the first round running back, that's what he's going to end up getting, which tells you the trends on running backs are going a little lower or staying still. They're not going up anymore when it comes to the market for running backs. So that's the important factor. Yesterday's show. Today it's more about actual usage on the field, and we're going to discuss that a little later here on another quick MCF Fan Friday tonight here. Not much news in the Cowboy world, but there is always news here in the MCF world. Let me put it that way, because of course you can see, as you guys know, we have it. We're still waiting for the membership situation to figure itself out, and the super chat situation. We can get the experience here at MCF a little more active. But in the meantime, there's a couple of ways.
A handful of ways to support the channel. In the meantime,
4 ways, to help out here at MCF, as you can see on the screen.
You have your Cash App, money sign My Cowboys Family, the Venmo link at My-Cowboys-Family. PayPal link, of course, the regular PayPal, but you saw it there with Skeptical Fan showing it off. That Streamlabs link lets your message show up right here on screen. Yep. Takes down Marco Sepian's stream boss as well. He's down to 87 points.
Does it similar to the super chat. So that's where you can do it. Message on the screen here on the family, MCF, My Cowboys Family. So again, thank you guys for doing your thing, Trent M. And Skeptical Fan kicking it off. Of course, you got Snug X and Marco Sepian running the show once again. We'll see what happens tonight over the weekend. The Sunday finale, we'll see who takes it down for this week as we head literally into the draft next week on Thursday. So It kicks off then. So before I get to the news info and the updates and NFL news and all that good stuff, who's in the house tonight to discuss our Cowboys?
We have Stephen White, hello and hi. Bruce got the Toxic Juice representing. Nate Rosario, what's up? No, we do not watch the show Danger Force. I've actually never heard of it.
Which
Sorry.
Danger
Force?
Oh, no.
Never heard of it.
No.
So, Rolando Rodriguez, much love all the way from South Texas. We have Skeptical Fan always staying skeptical, who, by the way, he said vote for the best player available. So if Bijan's the best player available at 26,
again,
then
we're saying he's the best player available at 26 when we're picking. Does that mean you grab him? And that's why I have the four different. I'm guessing that's
what Skeptical Fan is saying. His vote is on that side of things. Cassie Stewart, much love. Hope you're doing well. Poon Everlasting said, "Can I vote for myself?"
Who
wouldn't want to vote for Poon?
Go for other. Always going for Poon. Hey, where's Marco Seppin? He wants Poon Ford.
Yes.
Here.
But the Cowboys cannot afford.
Cowboys ain't paying. Yeah, they can't afford the Poon.
Poona.
Yeah, they can't afford the Poon.
Mike Aldana, much love. He said, at this point, whoever the Dallas Cowboys draft at 26 better be a day one starter. So whether
I agree
it's
with
Bijan or somebody else.
Bijan would be that, although it would be Tony Pollard to be the day one starter.
And that's where it gets a little bit tricky. Like, if it was just Bijan in a singular bubble, he absolutely would be starting for Dallas. Yeah. But we just franchise tag Tony Pollard
for 1 year.
We're not exactly going to let that money investment.
As I said yesterday, though, Brian Broaddus did say, he said any running back we draft in this draft is going to probably be
Pollard's replacement.
Is going to be 2024 starter. So if you look at it like that, you can say, Bijan. But
so he would start, but like with a little asterisk, right?
He'll be the future starter in a 1-2 punch with Tony Pollard.
Scorpio in the house, much love to you.
Love.
Dallas Cowboy 92, hello and hi. Hopefully all good. You can hear us now. We have the King Edits. What's up? Thomas welcome. Garrett, the Superior. Garrett. Dallas Forever, what's up? Texas Twister, stay safe out there on the road.
Twisting. Driving. Doing your thing.
Oh, that cracks me up. So, I'll get back to some of the Bijan comments in a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to get to that quick.
But let's start off with some NFL stuff.
There's not much news for the Cowboys, but there's definitely news in the NFL today. 5 NFL players today, guys. Yeah. This is breaking news. You guys, I'm sure, already heard
Drums
it.
and Cowboys, what's up?
In the house. Welcome in. Hit the like, subscribe if you haven't, guys, and notification bell to all videos so you can drop in here when we go live. Discord, Twitter at MyCowboysFamily, and on. Yeah. Appreciate everybody. But 5 players today were 5 on it. 5 players today were suspended, violating the league's NFL's gambling policy, guys, like we saw with Calvin Ridley losing last year, right? So there were 5 guys suspended. 3 of these guys were indefinite suspensions, at least a year or more. Lions wide receiver Quintez Cephas, Lions defensive back C.J. Moore, and the Washington Commanders defensive edge rusher Shaka Toney. All right, so these guys are bet on NFL games. They are out for a year or more, indefinitely is what they say, until the NFL reinstates them. Sort of like Calvin Ridley was reinstated this offseason. 6-game suspensions, though, for 2 other players. Lions wide receiver Stanley Berryhill. And this is I would say their superior receiver for the future here in Jamison Williams. So again,
but why they only get 6 when the other guys got?
I just want to make a point. There were 3 guys on the Lions. There's 4 guys from the Lions. 3 of them are wide receivers. One of them was a defensive back. Interesting, right? And then one of them is the 5th one is a commander from our NFC East. So here's the deal, guys. The reason some got indefinite suspensions and some got 6-game suspensions, 6-week suspensions, is because of what they bet on and how and where they bet. So let me put it this way. Quintez Cephas, what's his name? C.J. Moore, defensive back in Detroit, and the Commanders' Shaka Toney. All 3 guys bet on 22 NFL season games. So they bet on the NFL games themselves. That's why they are indefinitely suspension. NFL games. So now they can officially petition for reinstatement after the 2023 seasons, exactly like we saw with Calvin Ridley. Now, the other 2 guys, Jamison Williams and Berryhill, receivers from the Lions, they're eligible for the offseason, for the partake and stuff. They're eligible for the preseason and training camp, but we got to miss 6 weeks of the NFL season. NFL employees prohibited from engaging in any. You got to remember, guys, this is the way the rule is set up. So there's certain rules that you can do and can't do when it comes to the players and where you bet from.
Yeah.
So just saying this, guys, that we know the rule is specifically written as employees are prohibited from engaging in any form of gambling in any team, club, or league facility or venue, including the practice facility. That's key here. And I explain because some of these guys were betting from the practice facility. Now, and if that's the rule in the book. NFL also added in their statement in this investigation, they said, quote, a league review uncovered no evidence indicating any inside information was used for any game. They've been saying that there's no game that was compromised in any way
because of these guys betting.
Right, because of the inside information from these players that could tell bettors do things, bet different ways.
Yeah. So long story short, the NFL obviously updated their rules when it came to betting and allowed players to go from not being able to bet at all to you guys can bet, just can't be NFL, and you can't do it in our building or our facilities because they don't want any association with their team and possible betting or anything that's even close to insinuating that somehow the team is like officially endorsing or sponsoring or anything like that.
That's the key. It's very important. Teams cannot endorse. That would be like a big fine. That would be a big hit for the team, the organization that they see if they were helping or engaging the players into maybe giving insider information. That's where this all comes into.
And that's why you see the difference in suspensions. Right. There's basically two major rules that they have to follow. Don't do it on our property and don't bet on NFL stuff. And unfortunately, we had one
let me clear it up.
That did it on premises.
Yeah. and it's not just the premises, though, baby. It's also what they bet on. You got to remember.
Well, I said the ones for 6 games are the ones that bet on not football stuff, but they did it physically in the facility, whether it's, like you said, the practice facility, the actual stadium, doesn't matter.
Now, Calvin Ridley, if you remember last year at the Falcons, and I was with the Jacksonville Jaguars, you figured you wouldn't see that mistake again in the NFL by these players. They learned, they would say, okay, we got to be careful because they got Calvin out, right?
Yeah, and how quickly the NFL came down on Ridley,
hard.
too.
They came down hard, as they probably should for something like this. But you got to remember, guys, Williams, the receiver, is the young wide receiver for the Lions. He's going to miss 17 with the injuries he had in his rookie year. He's going to miss and end up missing 17 of his first 23 games in the NFL with the Lions.
Not good.
The Lions traded up. They traded up 20 spots to go get him in last year's draft. Remember that. So to be clear again, NFL players, all 5 of these guys that got suspended are allowed to place bets on non-NFL sporting events or games. You got to understand, got NBA, UFC, hockey, baseball, college sports. They can do this, just not NFL players, which is understandable. They're prohibited to bet on any team, NFL or, of course, but any sport, at an NFL facility or team facility. You got to remember, guys, including the locker room, team flights, team hotel, bus rides to the game. You cannot bet while you're going to you can't do bet. You got to be at home. You got to be at a friend's house. You got to be at the bar. You cannot
be in your own vehicle.
Yeah, you cannot be in anything related to the NFL. It's got to have a standard there. That's the way it's ruled. And again, if you understand why, it's to not compromise the NFL in the end. That's why that ruling is there. Because if you could get, like you said, you get teams backing players to giving out insider information, that could be the end of the NFL. Like in a major way, a lot of lost money and loss of trust of the fans.
Just even the insinuation.
Correct. That's why
that could be happening.
And that's why they come down hard on these guys. A lot of people are pissed about this. Grow up, guys. Let's follow the rules, or just you got to follow the rules, or you got to get the suspension, I guess. So. Right after this happened, guys, the 2 guys that got suspended, Williams and Barry Hill, both these guys, 6 games they lost because they specifically, and we know what they bet on, was college games. They bet on college sports. I'm not sure which sport, but it might have been college football. They bet on college games, but they did it from their facilities. The Washington guy did it from Washington's facility, and the 2 Detroit guys did it from the Detroit facility. The Lions then turned around and released both of their guys that were suspended indefinitely. Wide receiver Quintus Cephas and safety C.J. Moore. They were both suspended after. Yeah, they were both. Oh, go ahead, sneeze it up. But they were both suspended guys. They were both released from their team from the Lions after the suspension came down from the NFL. Of course, they still have Williams. They still have Barry Hill. And the Washington Commanders still haven't made a move with Shaka Toney. So that's kind of the breakdown there for what went down today in kind of I don't want to say shocking, but definitely after the Calvin Ridley situation, you'd figure that that's probably not going to be a situation you have to see that happen again or have to deal with those situations again. And obviously, got to be careful because it seems like we're seeing this in a widespread way. Now, I will say this: with 5 guys one of them's from the Washington Commanders, but the other 4 from the Lions. It seems like it's more a Lions issue, a Lions situation than it is an NFL situation. They didn't get the memo, I guess, over there in Detroit. And I guess, commanders are commanders. What are you going to do? So anyways, any quick comments on this, baby?
No, I mean, look,
chat?
you guys are all bringing up very good points. One, you could just have a family member, bet for you or something. Although I'm sure I think that's probably not allowed. If you send a text message from the facility and tell somebody to, hey, do this for me. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. But my point is that they have so many options. And it's not like they're getting paid minimum wage or anything. Not saying every single player is fairly compensated, but they are making decent money. There's no reason for them to go out of their way to basically ruin their careers. Although I will say, based on the information said there, I don't think that the 2 players who were betting on the college games bet on any college football stuff. I'm not sure. To me, it sounds like the bigger issue was that they did it from the facility.
Well, again, they can bet on college football. They just can't bet on NFL football.
So then that's what I'm saying. So they could have bet on college women's basketball or gymnastics. I don't care what it was.
You just can't do it from the facility.
They did it even from the parking lot, is what I'm saying. I think that was their mistake. Grounds. But obviously the other guys dipped their toe onto the NFL side of things. And like you said, a few other people said here in the chat.
Can't do that.
Out of all the dumb things you could do, you straight up know it's illegal. There's no confusion, no nothing. And maybe you could claim ignorance, but you said it. Calvin Ridley just happened very publicly and loudly last year.
Yeah, and that's a big name.
Very, very, exactly. Cassie Sir said, leave the property, walk across the street, text your family member, and then you're off property. Or just cross the street, do it yourself.
There's ways
30 million options, right? Bobby Garrett, what's up? Another superior. Garrett, Cameron, what's up? He said, I don't even know why it's so hard to not get in trouble or be in the wrong crowd. So
it's not that hard to do. And again, I understand you want to be hey, I want to be like everybody else in this country and have the freedom to gamble. Guess what? You're in a sport, and you're in a profession that you should not really mess with the gambling side of things. And if you do, be aware of the rules. If you're that stupid to not realize the rules, and then you deserve the suspension.
Yeah, everyone's job has maybe certain restrictions that other jobs don't. For example, if you're a truck driver, you can't maybe partake in certain activities off the clock, even if you're good while you're driving, because if you get randomly tested and you're a driver, you can get in trouble for that. So you have different rules. Or if you're a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, NFL players don't have that luxury.
Okay,
I would not risk my career to bet on some
these other professions that they can do this. Saying whatever it may be. I mean, they have to go along with what their professions are asking, whether it's the job specific or if it's the profession specific. But either way, in the NFL specific job, you cannot bet on NFL games. You cannot bet from the facility. If you can't do that, then you're going to get suspended. And anybody who thinks differently is just ignorant to the rules.
Yeah.
That the collective bargaining agreement has made with the NFL and the owners and the
bad
players.
Look for the NFL to basically we've only had the gambling allowed for 2 years, and every single year we have now the numbers increasing of players just shooting themselves in the foot. So
1 first, now 5
I have a feeling that privilege might end up being walked back, and I know you and I were talking about it behind the scenes. You think it's a little too late. You can't close that barn door once it's been opened.
The money that's coming through here with all the salary cap is going up and all these collective bargaining agreement. It's all about intertwining
integrating the gambling,
the money contracts. That for the TV money contracts, and then of course the gambling profits that is now put into the big ball of the NFL, split by the owners and the players. So again, it helps the players and the owners. It's just the players just got to abide by it. I don't think the owners are allowed to also bet from their facilities. You know what I'm saying? It's everybody involved in the NFL cannot bet.
You brought up one specific. You didn't say NFL players. You said NFL employees. All football players are NFL employees. Guess what? That includes staff, coaches, owners, all the way up. So that's why I said it's not like players are somehow being personally discriminated against. But I still think personally we have to have not a discussion or something, but we have to figure something out because this problem's only going to get worse. So you either walk it back, lock it down, and say we made a mistake for the players.
Right. There's 2 things. They amended in the offseason, which they could happen in the future, or you got to wait till the CBA is ready to be done in 2031. Damn, 30, that'd be 100-something years. 2031, you can start fighting for those mistakes that maybe you missed the first time. But that's the deal. That's the way it is. And I could understand this from the NFL side, at least. That's all.
So, bad habits are hard to stay away from, said Mike Aldana. Yeah, and it sounds like, at least based off what they said here, it was basically all Detroit Lions players and the one random Commanders. So I'm assuming they probably knew each other or something. Like, they're
they might have been
friends
college,
or chill.
Yeah, college friends maybe. Who knows with the connection there. But 3 receivers. One defensive end in Washington, and then the Washington safety was all defensive back.
I bet you all the position coaches are now going to have a very uncomfortable speech with all their guys saying, okay, guys, please do not start weird betting rings. So we have to basically get rid of like a third of our entire position group. Thanks. Just saying, like, what if all the receivers on our team conspired to like do something like that, and then next thing you know, we basically only have like CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup, and that's it.
3 receivers in Detroit right now. They have time to take that in and
exactly
reassess.
All the way down to the cleaning crew, Thomas Garrett, everyone. So
that's the way
now again, let's keep it rolling from that. But like I will admit, like I said, I was kind of surprised to see that today as well.
Yeah, that was kind of the big NFL news, but it's not Cowboys, so we keep moving.
Thankfully, it's not Cowboys.
Last year was Calvin Ridley with the Falcons, who broke this rule. The Falcons today released a cornerback named Casey Hayward, who can still play football, cornerback. I'm not saying we should pick him up. I'm just saying he's out there. With that move, the Falcons cleared $5 million in salary cap. I'm only bringing it up because he's still good. Casey Hayward, I talked about him a couple of years ago. He's still got some talent. He's a free agent. Just saying. And no comp worries, by the way. Now, I do want to say something. Baby, today, Antonio Brown he was arrested for he was deemed to be arrested for something, if I'm not mistaken, for something that happened in the past. I think a judge ordered, for not paying child support. A judge ordered police to arrest former NFL wide receiver star Antonio Brown for unpaid child support. So
stars, they're just like us.
Hey, but listen, he has his fair share of issues over there, right? In his life, the last couple of teams he's been with, and now out of the NFL. And Odell Beckham, we talked about maybe like him going to the Cowboys, him possibly being a Cowboy last season at the end of the year into the playoffs, and then into the offseason, and he eventually signed with the Baltimore Ravens here a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Odell Beckham today was accused of grabbing a woman's throat. He was named in a police report. He denies it. Odell Beckham has been named as a suspect in an assault investigation after a woman went to police and claimed that Odell Beckham Jr. had his hand around her neck in an L.A. club hotspot area. Okay. And he says that these allegations are untrue. Law enforcement told TMC Sports and others out there that this incident went down at Delilah, I guess, the nightclub there, a couple of weeks ago. She's 30 years old, and she says that's Odell Beckham, for some reason, grabbed her by the throat with light pressure. A rep for Odell immediately responded with this and said that they were not aware of any investigation, and they hadn't been contacted by police in any way. So they vehemently denied any claims brought by this woman to Odell Beckham Jr. Of course, that he did anything wrong. They say no. But other sources are out there saying that this alleged altercation that occurred, the woman and Odell Beckham, they stayed at this Delilah, club.
They basically, after it happened, they were both still hanging out at the club.
They chilled, they hung out, they hung out the rest of the night, they left together. It was the night, they were there together for the rest of the night, no further incident. A few days later, the police met with the accuser, and she filed a police report. Don't know why she changed her mind a couple days later, but
why did like the way they make that sound? It's almost like and again, it could just be the way it's phrased. They make it sound like the police approached her.
I know.
And said, "Hey, girl, what's up? How you doing? Did anybody choke you out?"
Just like in the Marriott situation with Irvin. I mean, remember, it was
maybe it could have been an outside report or someone maybe checking in for her welfare or something like that.
It could have been something more. It could have been that. It could have been her own. Maybe she said, "Hey, I could get some money." I'm not saying that's what it is. Or it could be that maybe at the club, Delilah's, they have cameras. They saw something go down, and they reported to the police.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Like, a third party or something
that's
maybe saw something.
But the club itself is what I'm trying to say, because they have the footage. They have the video. They saw something that obviously the police saw and said, okay, that's a crime, possibly. And they went in and talked to her. She said, yes, let's file a report. I'm guessing here. We're totally
More
guessing.
Information obviously needs to come out. Based off of Odell's previous kind of interactions and stuff like that. He's been a little volatile. But he's never been accused of putting hands on a woman. And it also, at least from the details that we know so far, could it have been just something a little sexy that looked a little off in person?
Who knows? I don't
know. And then
that's
maybe,
another whole different route there.
The only reason I say that is just because grabbing someone by the throat in a club with light pressure, but then they're still hanging out, they're still having a good time, and they still went home together.
There's something sexual.
I'm not here to kink shame or anything, but
Look,
maybe something should stay private so that they don't get misconstrued on camera.
My point is that
like you said, the follow-up there is the part that's a little trickier. Maybe this girl said, hey, Odell likes it rough. Let me take advantage of this and get my coin.
I'm just saying, like, she 2 days later said, hey, this is, or the police said, hey, what went down here? Was it what you're saying? Or was it something more like, angry fight kind of situation? Yep. We don't know. But whatever it is, we do know he's been named as... She filed a police report. So
let's see the results of that investigation.
Listen, of course, we hope the best for everybody in this situation. He did something wrong. He needs to go to jail. My thing is, he's not a fucking cowboy.
Mike Adnana literally said, "This is a Ravens problem."
Exactly.
Now.
He's not a cowboy.
It's all good.
So aren't we all happy? Say it all to 1, 2, 3. Yes. No Odell Beckham in Dallas means none of this bull crap that we got to see with the spotlight and every detail. And
Cassie Stewart saying we dodged the bullet not getting OBJ. He's nothing but an arrogant troublemaker. And even if Justin Cowboys said, "Thank God we chose Cooks." Like just
exactly, we got Cooks, quiet, consistent, 1,000 yards, and in 4 different teams, and
if he's clubbing, we don't know about it.
6 out of 9 years, 1,000 yards. I mean, with the shitty quarterbacks, I'd rather have him than Odell Beckham. He fits the system better. And remember this. If this was Odell Beckham, not Baltimore Raven, if this was Odell Beckham, Dallas Cowboy...
We'd be seeing this on the 6 o'clock news.
You'd be seeing this nonstop. We have 8,000 content creators talking about it. You have ESPN running nonstop scrolls about every detail what happened.
We'd be seeing Baltimore that Raven, Odell kicking that net footage, replaying.
Over, and hitting the face. It's the same crap. It'd just be playing. They'd be using that star once again, and Odell Beckham would be their front and center guy. And we don't need that in Dallas. Just to let you guys know. I don't want that. Jerry probably loves that crap. Oh. Jerry probably's like, damn, I missed a chance. Jerry Jones probably thinks that. I'm not joking. Don't leave it at that. Now.
Look, I don't look at a jail cell full of my exes and say, damn, I missed my chance. Like, Jerry, just throwing that out there. Maybe reevaluate your priorities.
Jerry would love to see. Any news is good news, even if it's bad. So
the final thing I'll say here, Cameron said, play football, get the bag, stay out of trouble.
That's all you got to do. Like 3 things. It's pretty simple. Follow the rules, the basic effing rules. It's not that big of a deal, I was, we're cool with the 420 stuff. We're cool with marijuana being legalized, but when it was not legal in the NFL, sorry, Randy Gregory, and David Irvin, we love you guys and we agree with you guys, but you got to follow the goddamn rules. Simple as that. So,
even the stupid ones, especially the stupid ones.
You got to. And so it goes for gambling. It goes for choking out women. In a club. That we don't know what happened, but she filed a police report. Anyways,
exactly.
Moving on from this. Let's move on to our team guys now. Our actual Cowboys. A legend in Torrey Aikman. And maybe a future legend. Some people are like hating him. Dak Prescott. Today, Troy Aikman and Dak Prescott we're hosting the Children's Cancer Fund Light It Up Gala in Dallas. Of course, they always do. Nice. Quarterbacks always get together. I'm talking about the Cowboy quarterbacks in history. Roger Staubach. I know Danny White used to go in there, but it's mainly Staubach, Aikman, Romo, and Dak Prescott usually do this gala together. I know Don Meredith used to go, and I know we have Danny White popping in once in a while, but these are the main Cowboy representatives right now. Today, it was Troy Aikman. What I've seen, it was Troy Aikman and Dak Prescott only. They were their guys. They were the main guys, the hosts of this event. The hope for them, and we'll find out probably tomorrow, they're going to try to raise over $1 million on this fundraiser. Again, Children's Cancer Fund, a great thing. Cowboys quarterbacks representing. Now, interesting little note, guys, at this area here, there was also a spotting of Zeke, and I'm going to say he was dressing really strange. I thought it was a woman at first, I'm going to be real, but Ezekiel Elliott was at this lighted up event to raise money to fight children's cancer. Of course, he's there with his buddy, Dak Prescott. I saw a video of Dak trying on the new Texas Rangers uniforms. Fantastic. I think they look nice.
I have to admit, they actually do look really nice.
The Rangers looking good there. They sent Dak, but in his hat it says 214, and I'm like, oh, 2-1 with a space and 4. Of course, the area code, of course, Zeke and Dak. I'm sure Zeke got his own collection, but Zeke's not in Dallas anymore now.
For better or for worse, it is going to be hard for Dak to separate his image fully, I think, from Ezekiel Elliott, and maybe also, it's still fresh. It's only been like a month or 2 since we knew we were going to move on from Zeke, but it's still.
Yeah,
it's a 2-1-4.
Yeah, they're still connected, guys. So
and they're friends.
Zeke came to this gala with Dak. We'll join Dak there to help raise money for this event. Zeke took part in this event. He politely declined to talk about his release from the Cowboys when he was asked.
I think that's the right thing to do. We're here for not football stuff.
And they asked him about his future. He said, "I politely declined." And then they asked him, "How do you feel?" And he goes, "Quote, I'm doing great. I'm doing great." Left it at that and just kind of waved. And he had a kind of man purse, a merce. What did I call? Anyways. Just interesting.
That's your relevant detail? That's what made you think he looked like a girl?
No. It was his hair, too. It was kind of like like flowing in the wind. I don't know. Anyways, look, my point.
You're saying guys can't have majestic flowing locks?
Are you gonna make me bring this up on the picture?
I'm curious because I didn't see him, so I'm thinking he's dressed like, I don't know, like a New York bag lady on the sidewalk or something. When you're telling me he looks like a girl, I'm like, what?
No, I mean, it just.
What do you wear? A crop top and a skirt?
Flavor. I mean, he did that for the draft.
What's up, Frame Rippers? Much love.
I mean,
he doesn't. No, that's no, baby. Where are you? The 70s have been back.
I'm sorry.
He just looks like a 70s GQ.
I'm just not that cool.
Soul Train.
I'm just not. You're not that cool. I'm not that cool.
I admit it.
Proud of it.
I love you.
But anyways, yes. I
love you despite your lack of cool factor.
I'll take it. Take it. Zeke, do your thing. I'm not here to criticize. I just give an observation and move on. That's all I'm going to do. And listen, I think Zeke has a chance to be back with the Cowboys. Don't sleep on that.
I bet you his Merce matched his shoes.
Don't sleep on that. That's all I'm going to say.
Jones the Cowboy said the Indiana Jones back.
Can't talk about that. I'm going to get canceled. We're going to get canceled. We're going to get hit by YouTube again with something. Like, said something. I didn't call him by his pronoun or something. I don't know. Look. We could have a whole show about this. Generational gap situation.
His pronouns are 2 and 1.
That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. Go ahead, baby.
Right, no,
any last comments?
Frame Ripper said, long flowing hair. I got Fabio vibes from that description. It's, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I said. I'm like, the way you were describing it, I was picturing more of a,
it was like, hey guys,
New York
that's what it looked like.
Type of look, but no, he just he looks like he's auditioning for Soul Train, but in a good way, in the best way possible.
Zeke, do your thing. Do your thing, and we'll see what happens. Listen, right now, my
Bruce
concern...
said we got to start the poll. Who's cooler between MCF and Stephen Jones?
I got to win that one, somewhat. I got to pull it out by...
I will give that one to you.
By Bill.
So I will give that one to you.
Of my hat. Anyways,
there you go.
Guys, thank you for that. Let's keep it rolling here, guys. As we talked had a little fun and got a little update there from Dak and Zeke about their situations. A real quick glimpse. Stephen Jones spoke about things that gave us updates, whether it's about contract extensions, contracts that were just signed or agreed upon.
Stephen Jones actually said specifically that MCF is cooler than him.
See, he even said it.
So
he said they get the only ones that can call me Steve Jones. Steve Jones was on 105.3 The Fan today. It was really general. It was really quick. He talked about CeeDee Lamb. And he confirmed today that the Cowboys did, and we knew this yesterday, but the Cowboys officially exercised that fifth-year option entering in 2020, next year's final year of his contract on his rookie deal. So Jerry Jones, said that the Cowboys have done that, as we know. But he also said that the Cowboys had targeted CeeDee Lamb as someone they want to sign to the second contract off their rookie contract and be around for years to come.
So basically, they're not even leaving it halfway ambiguous. They're making it very clear that we like CeeDee Lamb, we want him here long term. We're just trying to negotiate that contract. Exactly. That's it. So
right. It's just a placeholder, like a tag or a franchise tag, or you can hold that over till July. In this situation, you can hold it over till 2024 kicks off in September.
Yeah. So
we got a long time.
Cowboy Nation. Yeah. CeeDee Lamb is not going anywhere.
I said this yesterday. It's more about Trayvon Diggs. Stephen Jones didn't touch on Trayvon Diggs, which is interesting.
Still radio silence on that. Which the more that the less he says,
the more worried.
It
becomes to the cornerback. But the Cowboys are going to ride it out with Gilmore as the number 2 and Diggs as the number 1. We'll see. Now, I'm going to say this, and again, we don't know if they're working on Diggs right now. But they're not talking about it. Maybe that's a good sign. The Cowboys talked about the other contract that was done. Stephen Jones spoke about it today, front office, saying that they got that. He confirmed as well that the Terrence Steele restricted free agent tender, second round tender, has officially been signed at a little over $4 million. Can't negotiate that money as far as on the cap. It's a straight up hit, like a tag or something like that. So that's done, taken care of. And again, he just talked about it. Yeah, we love it. He's going to be with us this year. It's going to be great. That's Stephen Jones crap. He was asked though, now as we finish up tonight's show, we're going into the draft side of things, and Stephen Jones was asked how much input do current players currently, in the past and currently now, how much impact do these current players on our team have? What kind of impact do they have in the draft process? Who the Cowboys maybe end up drafting? And he said basically, and kind of putting it in a nutshell here, he said it's casual. It's kind of a passing by kind of thing. He said he specifically brought up Damone Clark and said that a lot of LSU defenders that he spoke that kind of he asked some of the guys that are Cowboys that are from LSU, kind of asked about him. And kind of got a little description, like what do they think about him. So in that sense, it sounds like the Cowboys don't go out there and ask I don't think the Cowboys go out there and ask, hey, Dak, do you think we should get this guy for you? I think the Cowboys, they might say, what do you think about this guy because you know him kind of situation. Whether it's a free agent or a draft
guy. Hey, do you know so-and-so? It seems like that's more the approach, but it does make it pretty clear, something that I think some people have maybe gone back and forth on. How much input does our front office give, Dak Prescott, and has that input increased in the last few years, which for me, I would have to say yes. Now, does that mean that Dak somehow has more influence? No. I just think that the Cowboys more frequently are coming to Dak saying, hey, do you know this guy? How do you feel about this guy? So I'm just saying, before they might have asked him about 1 or 2 players. Now they're asking about maybe 5 or 6, right? Bringing more opinions to him.
Getting more stuff
and just kind of getting more feedback from Dak in that way. And, of course, one of the reasons I say that, I think McCarthy's a big factor there, right? Because as McCarthy's gotten more involved in the draft and more involved in general, he made a comment about a year or 2 ago, too, that kind of insinuated towards that as well. But off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly what it was. Basically something along the lines of like him having discussions with Dak and things like that. But this was from like back when he was talking about his extra involvement in the draft. So it's not like a recent
I remember
comment.
something like that, but it was more, it seems like, I'm not saying the Cowboys don't talk to Dak or others, but it just seems like the usual move from Stephen Jones letting us know, he's saying that we usually just kind of in passing by kind of about certain players in college they played with or played in the same teams as. That's when they confer with the players more than, hey, does this guy fit with you? The Cowboys make the choice, and they want to make sure they know they're the ones that everyone knows. They're the ones making the call.
Yeah, like the
front office over Will McClay, over everybody else. In the end, Will McClay presents the players. The Joneses end up signing off in the end.
Exactly.
It could be the coaches, Will McClay's, the players. In the end, it's the Stephen and Jerry Jones. That's sign off on every player that comes through here, pretty much. Of course, there's some influence, maybe more from Dan Quinn or Mike McCarthy or somebody else, or Will McClay in some choices. In the end, it's the Joneses that make that final decision. So, and speaking of Damone Clark, that was your pet cat last year, and he's played well. Is it worth keeping him fresh, similar to LVE? I'm just bringing that up because last year when Damone Clark played under 50 total defensive snaps. Now, it's not in the first 5 weeks, 6 weeks of the season when he didn't play. I'm talking about the rest of the year. The Cowboys were 7-1 in the games that he played less than 50 snaps in the game. On defense in the regular season. So keeping him fresh, letting him play 45 snaps, maybe that's the ultimate way of getting him and LVE the most for themselves and for the position, keeping them both fresh and keeping them vital for the entire season and in the run game stoppage. So I
feel like that's a bit of a, not a misnomer, but if I recall correctly, the games where he played more,
he had great numbers too.
He had great numbers, and it's not that the reason that we took a hit was for different reasons. Like, I'm trying to remember specifically the 1 or 2 games where he did end up playing more.
Yeah.
So,
I hear you.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't want to, just, speak out of my ass.
Yeah. Well, the thing
and just say the wrong games or whatever. But what I'm trying to say is that I don't think that stat necessarily lines up with, use him less and we'll look better. I think it's more, he's a young guy, he's a rookie, and by the time we were using him more, it was mainly an injury situation. So, we're already in a deficit position. So now that we have both of them available, I don't think there's a reason for him to have to play that much. But I don't want to sit there and say let's make sure to limit his snaps or whatever.
I agree with you. That's what I'm trying to say. I think that when you see him in the games he played last year, he played less than 50 snaps because Anthony Barr played. That's the key there. He played now. LVE, he's going to be. I think that. By the way, I think Damone Clark. The guys they asked from LSU, one of them is Jabril Cox. You know what I'm saying? Jabril Cox knew very much all the information about Damone Clark. So Jabril Cox at the defense, linebacker, played a linebacker with them in LSU. The only reason I'm laughing is
because we barely see Jabril Cox either.
I know, but they had some playtime together. That's why he brought up Damone Clark as getting information from one of the guys on the team, a couple guys from LSU, which we know Jabril Cox is one of them. But the point is not how much he played or didn't play. It's the fact that he played with them. And that's why they said, how's this, how's that? Of course, they know they're gonna put certain information into that. Of course, the players are friends, so they're gonna maybe take that with a grain of salt. But at least they get an idea. I see it
more as due diligence, right? When
Stephen Jones loves that. He just came.
When scouting teams do this, they talk to the coaches, they talk to the players, they talk to the family. You know what I mean? It's an involved process. They want to know who they're dealing with. So talk to other teammates, talk to other players, and say, hey, what do you think about so and so? They'll say, he's a lazy bum. He might seem like he works hard, but then he goes home and just, Smokes Zaza and sits on the couch like, I don't know. You guys get my point. You find out things that you might not know. That's actually one of the reasons that back in the day, Tristan Hill, like one of the biggest knocks, like all the coaches would say, oh no, he's great, he's so talented, whatever. But then you'd hear secretly behind the scenes, coaches would say, hey, we doubt his work ethic.
And what happened?
We don't know how much effort he's putting into it.
And who stood for him and said he's fine? It was Rod Marinelli.
Because he said, no, he's going to play for me. I'm going to coach him up right, and he's going to want to play for me.
And 1 year later,
he didn't even want to play for himself at that time.
Listen, it's just that it was a sale job from Marinelli, and the Joneses bought it. That's all. That's what it came down to. They trusted in him. Hopefully they trust in Quinn as much as they trusted in Marinelli. But either way, as we get to this draft now, I'm going to get into the draft talk here, but baby, I think...
like you said, Steven didn't speak on too much today,
Yeah, that was it for Steven. But as we finish up, this is the last topic, is the draft. I do want to kind of go into that now with a commercial break here. Shouting out the sponsor of the week, SnugX.
Throw up the X.
The man, I see him in there.
Much love, Snug. Appreciate you, of course. Not just the sponsor of the week, though. He's bossing that stream around. Or sorry,
no,
he's
not
the Cash
stream.
App King.
He's the king of the Cash App, SnugX. Much love to him. The Cash App King. He took that from Jason Renford. Took sponsor week from Mark Hovsepian. Mark Hovsepian still 87 points on the stream boss after skeptical fans dropped earlier tonight. And if you look at the overall board, Mark's in first place this week, trying to get that sponsor of the week back. Not far behind him, SnugX. Right there in third, you see the guy who is currently the leader of this spot right here, the Cash App, Trent M. And Snug knows Trent M from the poker nights over there at Mosh's. So he's in third place, but he's also in first place on the Cash App board. Much love to Trent M. Fourth is Skeptical Fan. We have an open spot right now here on day 2, really. Night 2 of MCF this week. We're going to, of course, be back... Wait, is it night 2 yet? Thursday? No, 3 night. It's a third night here. Sorry. And, of course, the finale on Sunday. So get ready for that. But, hey, we'll see who wins this thing. Trent leading the way. Marco Sepian leading the way. SnugX. He's the king. He's the guy in command right now. So much. And, baby, how can anyone out there want to drop a little love and help out the channel, since we have the Super Chat membership issues right now with the YouTube side of things? Yeah, hopefully in May we get that resolved. But until then, 4 ways to help the channel out.
You have the Cash App, money sign MyCowboysFamily, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, of course, and last, but certainly not least, the Streamlabs link that lets your comment show up right here on screen. Takes down Mark Hovsepian's stream boss as
That'd be similar if that Super Chat. We'll hopefully get back in May, June, July, August, and forever. Beyond that.
Hopefully not that long. We gotta wait. But...
No. I'm saying we get it back from there, from May and forever.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Sorry, I took that the other way. I'm like, we gotta wait till what?
Hell, if that's the case, it's gonna be a different MCF channel.
We're wearing paper bags on our heads.
Bijan Robinson. I want to hit the poll up, baby.
All right, actually, that's a great point. I think this is a great time to hit it up before.
I'm going to break down this running back. Last night we talked about the money side of things with running backs. $30 million in 5 years is what you're going to pay Bijan Robinson. That's $6 million a year. That's 7th most paid running back in the NFL going into these next 5 years. We think, right? That's what it looks like. So he's the 7th highest. That's what you do if you grab him at 26, if he's there. We talked about that.
Very, 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 very surprised at the results of the poll so far.
I want to say one thing before you do the results so far, because we're going to go all the way through the night here. But I want to say one thing here. Bijan Robinson had 113 tackles avoided. He avoided 113 tackles, not over his career, last year by himself. I wanted you to check out I sent you some video. I wanted you to check it out, because what you see on Bijan Robinson is definitely a different running back. And I'm not saying that because the same way I'm saying as Zeke. I say Zeke with the Cowboys. I saw that what he had. But with Bijan Robinson, yes, in 5 years he'll be Zeke if he's used the way Zeke was used here. He'll be Zeke-like. At the end of his career. I'm talking about Zeke broken down. You get Bijan broken down in 4 years if you use him the way Zeke was used here in Dallas. But Bijan Robinson is a spectacular, amazing running back by far. Jahmyr Gibbs is fantastic, fast, but he's not as good as Bijan Robinson. That's a fact to me. You cannot put any running back in front of him. That's a fact. So he had 113 tackles avoided. He made defenders miss 130 tackles in one season in college. That's the most by any football player in NCAA college in the last 5 years. There's no guy, receiver, tight end, running back, anyone that has made 113 tacklers, has caused 113 missed tackles in a season. In 5 years, he's number one, which is amazing. When you watch him, you'll say, this guy has eyes all over his head. He sees things from he reminds me a little bit of Barry Sanders. I'm not saying it like he's not Barry. No one's Barry Sanders, but his movement is he's constantly moving and spinning, and he knows exactly where he's at. It's incredible. So Bijan Robinson is no question, no diggity, no doubt the real deal. Now, what's the results of the poll? Because I agree with that. He is fantastic, but I believe I don't know if I like I don't think I would take him, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But the reason I wouldn't take him is because in 4 to 5 years, at the end of his contract, he is now not going to be a Cowboy anymore.
Yeah. So as of now, with 42 votes in,
okay.
If he's there, do you want the Cowboys to draft Bijan in the first round at the 26th spot? 74% of the people said 100% yes.
Wow, yes.
You could have knocked me over with the feather.
So it sounds like
hearing that.
Sounds like the Cowboy family. Remember, when we did our mock draft, most of the people,
Bijan
most of the people wanted Bijan,
and it was by a good solid margin too. Like the other people got decent votes, but Bijan was far and away the leader there.
I just told you a reason why I understand. Like I'm trying to play devil's advocate on both sides of things, trying to see if in both ways. This guy is phenomenal. He's by far the best running back in this draft class. And I agree with this. Still, do you take him in the first round? You guys are saying 70 what percent said yes. No question, no doubt. Yes. How much? 70 what?
Yes, 74%.
That's 3/4 of the chat of the family here. Even more important than Cowboy Nation or the Cowboy fans, the family. And I'm not one of you guys. What was the rest of it? What else is next? Like, there's not much room.
So 10% said, sure, I guess. He's a running back, but he would be the best player available at that point. 85%
of you guys say yes in some shape, form. Yes, either adamantly, most of you guys, or a small percentage saying, yeah, I guess if he's the best player there. And I understand that, best player available.
So, actually, the votes just shifted a tiny bit because it went from 10% to 9% now.
All right. Did it go to the...
For sure, I guess. That last one I just read, and the next one, which is now best player available, but we have much bigger needs.
So basically saying, he may be the best player, but I'd rather go with something that fits the Cowboys in a more immediate fashion, an impactful starter, let's just say, that can be here for 10 years, not 4 or 5. So I understand that, but I voted for the one that's last. Hell no. Do not draft Bijan Robinson. Yeah. And it's not against him. It's about the running back position. I'm going to explain. But how many voted for that?
I also voted.
Oh, you did?
Hell to the no. And you know what's funny?
We're the minority big time.
You bring up all these devil's advocate arguments or whatever. And I think we're late enough in the stream I can curse now. But I feel like a bitch. Because I'm sitting here hearing all of these very valid, solid points. And all I can keep thinking is, yes, you are absolutely correct. I don't want him within 500 feet of Dallas property. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with him as a player. It has nothing to do with him as a person. He is at all those things that you said and more when it comes to impactful, dynamic, all the stuff. But guys, he is a running back.
Now I'm gonna
Jiminy Christmas. How many times do we have to go over some of the reasons why drafting a running back in the first round? It doesn't matter how talented they are.
Well,
it does not matter.
Okay. Well, that's what we have been saying. But let's put it to the test. I want to put it to the test. I don't want to see.
There's only one way to put that to the test.
I don't want to do it based on our opinions. I want to go on facts, and that's what we're gonna do today. I'm here to say let's get Bijan. If he's the best bang for your buck, let's get him. But is he? Is he? Now, as far as a pure player, he is. No question, no doubt. He's a Cowboy. I'll love him for 5 years because that's what he's going to be here for, and he's going to be the 7th highest paid running back in the NFL. So just adjust yourselves to that, and just if you like that, 74% will be happy. We'll be loving it.
84%,
85% will be happy that he's here for 5 years, not 6, not 10, maybe 3, maybe 4, but at least 5 years probably is the max on him. $30 million, that's $6 million a year, it's 7th highest paid running back in the NFL. Now, let's go the other way for a second, guys, because to me, first round, like you said, is still the first round. The picks, I would even say, and I think a lot of you guys agree, that maybe there's more important picks to be made later on in this draft, in the meat of the draft, in the second day, rounds 2 and 3, in the fourth round, in the fourth day 3, the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7 rounds. You know how the Cowboys love to invest their knowledge into that. So there's more important picks here than that first pick. But here's the thing you got to remember, guys. With that first pick, you want a guy with that first round investment. You'd want a guy, baby, that is here for more than 5 years, and he's going to be, a high-paid guy, eventually, supposedly, right? If he stays, again, he won't be high if he plays that rookie contract only. Maybe that's the Cowboys' plan, get a high-valued running back, play in 5 years, and then move on to another one.
I was going to say, if we were to get Bijan, it feels more like an aggressive free agent move a la Amari Cooper. He's not here for a long time. He's here for a good time. We're doing it knowing that we're basically investing a first-round draft pick for a guy that's only going to give us 2 years of really top-tier play, more or less.
I'm disagreeing with that. He'll give us at least 3, maybe 4, depending on how much Pollard is used this year. By the time he gets to year 5, he's decline.
I was saying 2, just because, again, for whatever reason, the injury bug always hits running backs around that year 2, year 3 mark. Right, so in my mind, I'm like factoring in like missed play time. I'm factoring in possible shenanigans. Okay,
anyway, but here's the thing: we're getting off track because I want to focus. We talked about the money, 7th highest paid running back, not worth it. Especially got Tony Pollard for at least 1 year. To me, the money side is the issue in some ways. But is he worth it for the actual usage? Running back usage, the way things are going now, the way things have been going. So if you look at things, guys. Outside of wanting a guy longer than 5 years, right? You want a guy you're going to draft in the first round to be here for a long time. That's what you want. You don't want to be a short-term guy for a first-round value pick. So you want to try to go and get a guy that's going to be here. Do your best to find a guy who's going to be here for 10 years, for 12 years, for 8 years, but not the Bijan at most 5. And I know some of you people in there is going, no, we'll have him for 10. No, we won't. And if we are, we're stupid. We'll have 5 years. At most, using that first-round pick. There was a study done, guys, a study by Ben Baldwin. And he showed, I'm my own little write-up here, but he showed that the running backs that are drafted, we talked about the top 10 kind of running backs. We talked about the running backs that were drafted and where the careers ended. On that rookie contract, none of them were really re-signed to a second contract. It was $1.5 million a year. It was crap. So nobody in the running back in the first round in the last 15 years hasn't got paid crap. Hasn't made crap in the second contract, hasn't played well in the second contract, or out of the league, a lot of these guys. So, and the guys
Who's the only exception to that rule, my love?
Don't get me here. I don't know.
You want to be Zeke?
Well, no, I'm saying it's Zeke in that sense. He's an exception to the rule, but my point is he was already teetering out. My point is that was a bad move by the Cowboys. I hear you, but I'm saying what I'm trying to say is make the point that investing in a first round running back is not the best thing to do, just based on the first round. Now, you could say a 4th pick running back like Zeke overall, and a 26th pick in Bijan Robinson. It's worth it because he's getting picked 26th. Well. This study by Ben Baldwin said that even the running backs in the top 20 picks are no better than the league average on a yards per carry basis. You got to remember, guys, running backs have the highest first round bust rate, so to speak, out of all offensive positions. Now, I'm not done. I got a way to go here. A lot of these studies that are being put out there, guys, show that running backs have very little influence on the success of a running game. I'm going to explain. And that, again, let me just one more thing about the running game.
I'm guessing it's scheme and O-line.
Well, no, it has a little impact on winning games. It has impact, but little impact. Not as much as some people want to say, run the damn ball. So the argument, now you got to say, okay, if the run game has not really helped, we talked about it yesterday, by the run game, by a great running back. Mm-hmm. And how does that running back, when you got to look at the passing game, how is he utilized there? Running back, how does it work if he can help you out in the passing game? Tony Pollard might be a prime example of that this year. According to these studies, guys, data show that running backs have a 4th of the EPA, which is the biggest analytic to produce points on the field. A 4th of the same EPA targets to tight ends. All right, so their effectiveness for the running backs compared to tight ends are 3/4 worse. I mean, the effectiveness of throwing to a running back is 3/4 worse of throwing to a tight end who's behind receivers in effectiveness when you throw the ball.
Because the tight end is basically a running back that can catch.
But they're better than a running back. They're better. A pass catching tight end is better than a pass catching running back by 75% more. So that's number one. Also, when you look at the success rate, when it comes to catching these targets, the success rate is a lot lower for a running back. Not as much, not 75% worse, but it's almost it's pretty bad compared to tight ends and especially receivers when it comes to success rate on a catch and running after the catch. So remember, guys, right now we're looking, okay, can they help the passing game? Not when you look at other weapons like receivers and tight ends. You want to go to them before you go to the running back. No matter who that running back is, top 10, top 20, top 100. All right, but we're talking about the top running back. Because you can take a running back in the 4th round or a scrubby running back and get something out of him. It could be equal to what you get into the top paid running backs in the league. Now, a lot of good running backs out there, guys, are out, and we talked about this with Zeke, play action. You know I love play action. I want more play action for Dak Prescott. And I always said just having Zeke back there is all we needed. We don't have to even be good at calling plays, Kellen Moore running the ball. It would be nice, but it doesn't have to happen. You can use play action and still be very effective. And this has been proven. You don't have to have a good running back for this. Because, again, a lot of people say, well, you need a good running back and a good running game to scare defenses to come up.
A good run game is not necessarily equal a good running back. It just means that your team is effectively using your running back.
But you don't have to have a good running game or a good running back to do play action. Let me explain.
That's a new one. I'll give you that.
Well, there's facts here. Teams that don't need to run often or run well. This is a fact. Teams that don't have to run often or run well to be effective to set up play action. Play action works for teams that run frequently, infrequently. They run well, that run poor. The numbers are same.
So it basically works for everyone?
It works. You just use the fucking play action. Just trust me and do it more often. It works. Okay. It works. It works. It works. It doesn't matter if you're a good running team, a bad running team. It doesn't matter if you run a lot or run a little. Play action works. I've been saying this on MyCowboysFamily for 5.5 years. Someone that could run like Dak. We had Zeke Fresh 5 years ago. That's when they use them more. No, they want unknown receivers and Dak and shotgun. That's what you got. That's what you got with Linehan, with Kellen Moore.
The one small positive thing I will say, if the Cowboys do get Bijan at 26, is that I do have higher hopes of McCarthy from an offensive perspective. You know,
me too.
Not allowing Bijan to turn into more wasted potential the same way that it felt like the combo of Dak and Zeke these last handful of years felt like wasted potential. But remember, it's not like the talent wasn't necessarily there.
This first year, Pollard will be there to help take some of that off. But then second year, third year, fourth year, he'll be good, Bijan, but he'll start getting work down, in my opinion.
That to me feels almost similar to the CeeDee Lamb move when you think about it, in the sense that, remember,
rest behind
when
guys,
we drafted CeeDee Lamb, Cooper was already here and was already slated as the number one.
Right.
Like, there's no in between.
For 2 years, CeeDee was 3 when he came in behind Gallup, and then in year 2 he was number 2.
Exactly.
But got number one numbers.
It wasn't slightly different, but it would be a similar situation in that, if Bijan comes in, we know he's not playing the number one role. He has that number one role talent. He's slated as the future number one, but for now he gets that kind of buffer where he can just contribute and not have to have that pressure of having to be the guy, right?
Yeah.
But
now,
next year he would be the guy.
To me, Bijan can handle being the guy. It's not like CeeDee Lamb. To me, he's ready to be the guy in the NFL right now, day one. The problem is he's not going to be the guy because we got Tony Pollard. They paid $10 million tagged, and Jones. Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones are going to say, give us run him to the ground, Pollard. And then Bijan will come in year 2 and 3 and take on more of the hits on that, I think. By year 4, you got Zeke broken down in Bijan Robinson, possibly because of the Joneses mainly. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, I do want to keep it going, if it's okay. Mm-hmm. That another big thing, what have we talked about when you run the ball with a good running back and a good running game? Even not even a good running back, a good running game. You control the clock, right? What do you do by controlling the clock with a good running game? Okay, you rest the defense.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't really sure where you were going with that. I thought you meant offensively. Like, what does that do? I'm like,
no. What I'm saying is that if you run the ball a lot, if you have a good running game, forget about good. You can have a shitty running back. You have a good running game. Usually that means, we possess the time longer. McCarthy even made points about running the ball more to give the defense a rest. Is this accurate? Now, in some ways, it does give the defense a rest. It does help the defense. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, guys, and Football Outsiders did work on this and found that the main reason and maybe the only reason, but it again, resting the defense may help a little bit. But the main way the offenses can help their own defense in a per drive way is through field position. Field position, not how much time you take off the clock to rest your defense. It's where the ball is going to end up when you punt or when the drive is over. And if you get into if you get to the 50 and punt and they get pinned on the 3, that's the best way you can help the defense if you're the offense, over taking up time and running the ball a lot to rest. I put that in quotes. The defense. The defense is more hyped and better when the team starts farther back, field position wise. Then they get a little extra couple minutes of rest. It helps, but not nearly as much as field position.
That does kind of make sense, because if you think about it, if you're running the ball to try and get, your first, second, third downs and then on and on and on, the teams that can do that more effectively, even if they don't get to a field goal or touchdown situation, that still means they're driving further down the field and getting to a better spot on the field.
Yeah, and it gives them more rest. It's kind of hand in hand. It gets more rest because they're going farther down.
That one I understand a little bit better. I'm still... It does kind of go against most of...
It feels
what most of us would consider.
That's why I wanted to bring it up.
Basic football stuff.
And that's why I wanted to bring it up. The usage of these running backs. My question is this for the family out there, as we voted already, and that's cool. Maybe you guys want to change your votes. I don't know. But here's the thing. In this review, yesterday the money, not worth it. We saw the effectiveness of the run game. Doesn't really change too much. Now we saw play action. We saw, catching the ball out of the backfield. For the running backs, we saw them, how effective are they in targets compared to the other receivers and tight ends on the field. Everything doesn't help. The ball control, to the rest of the defense, these are not factors that really truly help the team. So the thing I'm trying to say, running backs don't help the running game as much as you may think. The goodness, how good a running back is doesn't really make a difference. In the running game, if you use it right, you said scheme. That's major. Doesn't matter who the running backs are as much as the scheme that you're running and the plays you're calling, but they don't help the running game. They don't really are not a difference maker. A great running back is not a difference maker in the running game. They're inherently inefficient in the passing game. Tight ends and receivers slaughter them in effectiveness. They don't improve play action. They might tweak it, but they don't really improve it at all. It's the same thing across the board. Play action, you run a lot, you throw a lot, you don't throw well, you don't run well, you do run well, it doesn't matter. You run a lot, you don't run a lot, it doesn't matter. Play action always works.
By the way, Jorge, it's crazy, but we've mentioned this a few times. Drafting a running back in the first round does not necessarily make him cheaper. Let's say we draft BIJAN. He would be the 7th highest paid running back in the NFL, right?
But we got to hear. Again, I want to make sure.
Based off his rookie.
No, well, based off of the 5 years of his contract he's going to have, we know what the numbers are going to be. It's going to be about $30 million for 5 years. When you add it up, it's $6 million. It's $6 million a year, which would make him the 7th highest paid running back if these numbers stay the same for the next 5 years. As of this moment, you're seeing a guy who's going to be the 7th highest paid running back.
It's not like those numbers are necessarily going to go down. They would only really go.
They might tweak up. My point is, though, even though it's still too much to almost use on a running back. Is my point.
Whether it is too much or not,
well, I'm trying to make the point.
It's just throwing out there that drafting a running back in the first round does not necessarily mean you are getting a running back for cheaper. That's all I was trying to say.
Well, you're getting him for cheaper on the sense of he's a rookie on his rookie deal. But is he still cheaper when you look at the NFL running backs? The answer is no. Like I just said, 7th highest paid running back at $6 million a year, which is what his numbers would be when you correlate it in $30 million in 5 years. So
Chris Plumage, much love. By the way, real quick, BPA is best player available.
Sorry guys, best player available, BPA. Yes.
No, because I know some people are hopping in here.
BPA,
make sure to vote
is that
in the poll.
On the bottom of the baby bottles, BPA? Anyways, listen, here's the thing, guys. Running backs, a great running back does not really improve the run offense, the rushing offense. They're not great in the passing game. The tight ends and receivers are more efficient. They don't improve play action. It's across the board the same. Good or bad in the run a lot or don't run a lot, it's the same in play action. And they don't help your defense. Ball control doesn't help the defense as much as where the ball is as far as field position for the defense. Field position helps the defense more than ball control from the offense's perspective. So,
which again, very, very interesting.
When you look at all of these things, I cannot consciously draft Bijan Robinson in the first round. Now, if you get him a second round, I love it. But first round, I cannot do it. Give me the offensive lineman, Darnell Wright. There's a lot of picks I would take. But that's my inside track favorite one for me, myself and I. And we did this the other day. But I wanted to bring up the Bijan factor because it's a hot topic right now. A lot of people say if you don't get past 10, if he gets past 10 in the Eagles, at the 10th draft spot, Cowboys might try to make a splash or move up. I don't. I think it's just a lot of BS talk by analysts.
Yeah, unless we're going to somehow convert Tony Pollard into, like, another freaking receiver. I don't see how getting Bijan is going to have the impact that people believe it will or are also saying, right? I think I saw someone, I wanted to read this comment specifically because I saw it and I was like, that to me is a little crazy. Because Drums and Cowboys said that Mike Florio of Sports Illustrated said, if we get Bijan, we're in big contention for a Super Bowl. I am not disagreeing that he's a talented player. But when you think about the players we have, the scheme we're running, everything, how does Bijan contribute in an active way to a Super Bowl situation unless he's splitting snaps with Tony Pollard 50-50, which I think brings up a whole different set of arguments, right? So unless somebody gets hurt, unless we somehow use him as like another blocking guy, which, you know what I mean? Like every scenario that I can think of how we would use Bijan in this next year, it falls short of what I would want out of a first-round pick. And when I try to think of it from a long-term perspective, I just see, again, that to me is the worst part. I'd be much more willing to accept Bijan as our first-round pick if I, even knowing what the future holds for most running backs, if it wasn't for the fact that I don't think he's going to have a major impact here and now. So it's what are we doing?
But I think I disagree with you on that because I do believe that Bijan will have a huge impact and it'll be the showcase piece for the Cowboys front office. I don't think that. I think Pollard will be used this year as the workhorse. And
I disagree. I think Bijan will end up, like I said, I compared him to CeeDee Lamb. I'm holding to that. I think he'll have a very CeeDee Lamb-esque. Combine CeeDee Lamb's first and second years together, it's going to look somewhat similar for Bijan. I'm not saying he wouldn't contribute. I'm not saying he would have some good moments. But at the end of the day, he's not going to start. Short of somebody getting hurt, he's definitely not going to get the type of play time that we would expect. I want to make sure, And so far, based on the information we have, since the season hasn't started, we haven't seen anything or whatever, scheme-wise, I believe in McCarthy, but the scheme that he's planning to bring out with the more West Coast style offense, Bijan's going to sit on the bench 99.9% of the time.
Later after the stream, we're going to watch that video. It's a minute video.
I've already told you, I could see Bijan Robinson trucking over the entire opposing team. There is not a single thing you can show me, tell me, say to me at this point. Bijan Robinson is a running back. Okay. He is cursed with being a running back.
I told you why you don't draft him. That's what my opinion is. But I'm not going to sit here and say that, what you said, because I do believe Bijan Robinson is an unbelievably impactful running back. He's not just, again, when he gets in space, he is a different kind of running back. You just didn't see the film yet. But my point is that what he does out there is hard to match any offensive player doing out there on that field, right? So I think he's unbelievably phenomenal. And that's what I'm trying to say. I love this guy. But let me ask you this question, guys.
Well, I actually someone had a response to something you said.
Okay, go ahead. I'll hear it.
So Drums and Cowboys said, I respectfully disagree with what was just said. Our 1-2 punch running game helped us out tremendously when Dak was out. We should have kept that same scheme even when we brought Dak back.
I agree with this, and that's my point. I think Bijan will be used more than you're saying. Basically, Tony Pollard's going to be used most of the time. I disagree with you. It's going to be and the reason is because it's the first round pick. Joneses are making it, and they're going to bench him. Baby, they're going to use him more than you think. And my point is,
so you're basically telling me that the Joneses are going to overrule whatever Pollard. McCarthy offensive scheme or whatever because they're going to force him to use Bijan. Thank you for nothing you're telling me is making me want him anymore.
I'm not trying to sell him to you. I'm telling you that the Cowboys are going to use him more than you think this first year, and he will be dynamic. The second year, they're going to use him all the time, and he'll be dynamic. Third year, they're going to use him all the time. He'll be all right. You guys understand where this is going? That's my issue. It's not year 1, 2, and 3. It's year 4 and 5, and no more with the Cowboys. That's the waste. And when I add that into this is why I say you can still. You see somebody in the chat saying, "What about what's his name, Rashawn Johnson, his backup in Texas? Less wear and tear, less miles." Mm-hmm. I agree with Beast Mode, and the main reason is not because of that. Bijan is better than Rashawn Johnson. He has, I understand the wear and tear, but Bijan's still better. You know what? Here's the crazy thing. Look at the guys you can draft in the third round. Mm-hmm. For example, that the Cowboys have brought in and visited Zach Evans from Ole Miss. You heard me say that name about a million times
now
since the beginning of this draft thing. The Cowboys like him. They also have met with Devon Ashante from Texas A&M, running back Tyjae Spear from Tulane. They had a private workout with him. Rashawn Johnson from Texas. Again, guys, a private workout with him. Tank Bigsby from Auburn. A lot of people are liking him in that third round. Third round targets. The Cowboys obviously are. They didn't even bring BIJAN Robinson in to Dallas for a top visit. Just saying.
Didn't do that with Tyler Smith either, but
I know that. But the running backs we brought in, third round. I've said so far. Fourth round, Kendre Miller from TCU. Israel Abinkanda from Pittsburgh. Eric Gray from Oklahoma. These are the running backs the Cowboys looking at in the fourth round. All right? That's not it either, guys. Because again,
did we look at any first or second round running backs at all?
Zero.
So a little different in the sense that even when we got Tyler Smith, we didn't bring him in, but we are obviously looking at first and second round offensive linemen.
And there's a lot more names that are on this list later on in the draft. So when you look at the running backs, and I'm just going to say this right here.
Scorpio's saying it. That tells you that we're aiming to target running back in the third round.
In the third or fourth round. That's what I've been saying that kind of in my little thing, fourth or fifth round. It seems like of the four, we knew this. Now, these guys, it seems like third or fourth.
I can breathe a sigh of relief because that at least tells me that the Cowboys won't go out of their way to try to get BIJAN. Right? Like, if we're at 26...
The Jones factor.
Like I said, if we're at 26, I can't
Jones
see
factor.
Jerry trying to jump up to, like, 23 or something to try and get him. Just throwing it out there. I don't think we're going to go out of our way to reach and grab him. If he falls to us, we will absolutely do it. We're not going to make any extra effort to do so.
Let me say it like this. So when you look at...
I'm trying to manifest it.
Look at the running backs that we have in our top 30 that are guys that are on this list. Where do they fall, a lot of these guys? So, of course, BIJAN Robinson in the first round, Jahmyr Gibbs first or second round, Tyjae Spears, Kendre Miller, Zach Charbonnet, another guy the Cowboys liked and brought in. Second or third round on these guys. Third round guys, of course, Zach Evans, Israel Abinikanda, and Devon Ashante. And then later on in that third into the fourth round, Dwayne McBride, Rashawn Johnson in the fourth round. That's why I'm kind of favoring him over BIJAN. Not because he's better or he's got less miles on him, because he's a fourth round pick and you're getting a 10-year guy for that first round pick. The fourth rounder, you're getting a guy for 5 years or 4 years. Or maybe you extend him a little bit for $2-3 million after his rookie contract. I don't know. My point is, you utilize the running backs as the NFL is showing you the metrics and the analytics and the science, that you don't need to have a running back there that's a great name or a great player doing everything. You need a running back that's just good enough in the scheme, and you can be successful, winning games, winning playoff games, and winning Super Bowls. This is a fact. The highest rushers in the Super Bowls have been guys that have been paid crap and drafted low. Just saying, winning the Super Bowl is what the goal is here, not to look cool winning 10 or 12 or 13 regular season games and then losing in the second round of the playoffs.
Having a winning season is fine and dandy and all, but the season resets once you hit the playoffs. So
I think another running back you could say, if the Cowboys were to go a little later, that little guy, Deuce Vaughn, who the Cowboys have a scout, that's his dad. That certainly works for the Cowboys. Deuce Vaughn's dad works for us. He's a fifth-round target for the Cowboys. Eric Gray in the sixth or seventh. Sean Tucker, a guy who hasn't even worked out. Pro days happened, I think, is happening the 26th.
Yeah.
So at Syracuse, I think, Chase Brown. These are the guys the Cowboys are liking here in the running backs, but there's a shitload of them in that third, fourth, even fifth rounds. So why need to get BIJAN Robinson? We got Pollard this year.
I'm going to throw out two comments here in the chat.
Beast
Mode said they also did a formal meeting with Kenny McIntosh at the Combine, who's like a third or fourth rounder.
Correct.
So again,
a lot of names.
You're really seeing where they're investing that
third
time.
Third and fourth round is where we're going.
And on the flip side, going back to the first round, Scorpio's saying it here too. The Joneses made it clear we're looking at a tight end in the first round. If Bijan's there at 26, he would be the best player available, and we'll take him. But we're looking to get a tight end, because of Schultz.
And that's the only thing that scares me, is because if BIJAN gets to that point, it's the Jerry Jones pick that scares me. Why we go after BIJAN Robinson? Then it would be the logical. McClay might say no. Don't do it because of the trends in the NFL that don't use running back. But Jerry Jones say, let's sign him and sell some jerseys.
85% of the chat, a vast majority.
I hear you.
Not even considering it from a best player available aspect.
They
They're
would
just
love
like,
him.
if Bijan's there, you have to get him. And then a subset of that said, well, you have to get him because at that point he probably would be the best player available.
Is there any updates on that? Let's
Sure.
hear that.
Let me hit up the poll one more time real quick and Major Dingus.
Yeah, we're getting out of here, guys.
What's up? Hello and hi. So huge shout out to everybody
here.
here chilling, hanging with us.
Yes.
Let us know what your thoughts are as far as the Bijan situation. What side of the spectrum are you on? Are
Hit
you
that thumbs up,
all
that
aboard
like,
the Bijan train, or
subscribe.
are you trying to get off at the next station?
Notification bell. You know what to do, guys. And again,
So,
you guys want to drop the love? I know we're gonna have it's kind of a quiet night tonight, but Cash App, $ MyCowboysFamily, Venmo, which also counts as the Cash App board. Keep that in mind at My-Cowboys-Family, PayPal Direct, and message on the screen like Super Chat, Streamlabs. That's the way you do it, guys. Much love to Skeptical Fan on that side. Much love to Trent M on the Cash App
showing
side.
the love today.
Those guys showing the love here on MCF, so appreciate your love and, of course, your support here on My Cowboys Family.
Yeah, so slightly, not really surprised it didn't
Not
change
changed?
that
Okay.
much.
How
But it
many
did change
votes?
a little bit, though. With 50 votes, guys,
About 50.
74% of you guys are still saying yes to Bijan wholeheartedly. But only 8% now are saying sure, but because he's the best player available.
So 82% of you guys are saying
now
yes to
a
someone.
bigger chunk of people, 12% now, believe no, best player available, but we have bigger needs. So basically, there's probably going to be another guy that fell that's probably a high, let's say Meyer. It's Mayer, is it Mayer?
You talked about
Mayer and Bijan. They're
you
both
talked about tight ends being a target for Stephen Jones. I think Kincaid kind of falls a little bit to the wayside because of his back injury. That's my big issue, even though he's been cleared. So to me, it leaves Mayer if he drops, or Darnell Washington should be sitting there. That big 6'7".
The Darnells.
A lot of people, he's like David LaFleur, who is also similar height and weight as him. We'll see if the Cowboys risk it on Darnell Washington in the first, where he could be gotten in the second round, possibly. He's rated as 68th best player by PFF, and we picked 58. So
yeah, I think the more surprising part to me is the fact that only 6% said 100% no. So baby, we're in the minority, overwhelmingly. We're 3% of that right there.
It's funny. It's hard to. It's hard. I love the seeing the highlights. I can't say I'm saying no to this strongly. But the reason I'm saying it is because the numbers, the analytics, the science does not lie here. Getting a running back for 5 years as a first round pick is not financially good. It's not team wise good. It's not efficient for your offense. It just doesn't. It's not the right scientific analytical kind of way. But I know emotionally watching him play. I mean, you look at him, you're like, this guy would be a steal at 26.
I know, you sound like Jerry when you say stuff like that.
But I'm trying to be as honest as possible because he might be a Cowboy. But my point is, I won't be happy for the reasons I just stated. Doesn't mean he's not a great player. I will not be mad at him for being a great player on this team. He's going to be dominant for 3 or 4 years.
If we get him, obviously, just like with every other Dallas Cowboy, I hope he proves me wrong if I feel differently. If I'm not happy about it, I want you to take that unhappiness and turn it into regret. Make me regret ever saying and speaking the words, I wish we never drafted you. That's the type of energy I want my players to bring. And I'm sorry, I have hardened my heart. It is locked in a cage somewhere because like I said, you could show me Bijan Robinson saving a puppy from a burning building. And it would not change my mind.
And I hear you, but again,
that
wouldn't change the football mind for me if he sucked. You can save 1 million puppies. Again, it ain't gonna save your job as a football player.
Unless Bijan Robinson all of a sudden decides to become a receiver in the next 30 minutes, there's not a single thing that he can do as a running back except for basically become a receiver or a tight end, I guess, in that scenario. That would make me change my mind. Like I said, it is not his fault that he is so talented at a position that is basically Mr. Irrelevant now. I'm sorry. It is not my fault. I don't run the NFL. I don't run the schemes.
Imagine if somehow the Cowboys were able to corral someone like, you got Bijan Robinson, the first pick. Second pick, we get Darnell Washington. I'm saying, think about offense for a second. Third round, we get the Alex Smith Schmidt or something like this. He falls to the third. We get lucky. Imagine we get these 3 guys and we power pack the reverse way rather than going offensive line, tight end, and we go running back, tight end, offensive line, then running back, Zach Evans or something falls. I'm just saying, if you can power. Imagine you got 4 pieces. You're just throwing into this offense. And you wouldn't need Zach Evans in the fourth, but you would bring in, let's say, a defensive tackle. A defensive interior guy in the fourth. Yeah. But those first 3 picks, you're powering up, or even a receiver, right? But you are powering up an offense with a Darnell Washington who can block and catch, is a freak by athletic purposes. You look at Bijan Robinson, who's the best running back in the draft, and then you're looking at a lineman that is probably one of the second best interior linemen in the draft. Just saying that would be a great catch for the Cowboys. And we would think about the draft differently if we see those three guys on this list. Bijan, I'm just saying the best running back. And I think it's a wasted pick where you get him. But again, when you put the whole thing in the spectrum, we'll have to see how the Cowboys fill in all their spots before we can really judge the draft.
And I will grant you that in a singular bubble, just Bijan in the first sounds like a bad idea, but it could be a collective made better depending on the following moves. It still feels like an L.
I agree. Listen,
but it can be. It can.
I see some people.
You can make it a little more palatable, right?
So I see.
Let me hit up a few more comments. Yes,
hit Beast Mode's comment up.
Yeah, because that was actually the one I was going to read now. He said Osiris Torrance, Anton Harrison, Darnell Wright, Broderick Jones, Peter Skoronsky, are the only O-line players that wouldn't be a reach if we got them at 26.
Correct. Skoronsky is he's my dream pick. We're not getting him, guys. No. Paris Johnson is more of a tackle. So you got to look at that side of things. You got Broderick Jones, tackle. Darnell Wright, of course, I've talked a lot about him here. He's a tackle, but he's going to be playing left guard for us most probably. Mm-hmm. And you look at the interior, the top name on the list is Osiris Torrance. On the interior offensive line, John Michael Schmitz is second on this list, and then Steve Avila is third. Early second round for Schmidt, early second round for Avila. The point I'm trying to make here is, if you want to be about who the Cowboys are, we talked about who the Cowboys are probably keying on. We know they like Bijan. Everyone likes Bijan, but the Cowboys are focusing on Darnell Wright. We're focusing on Darnell Washington, Mayer, possibly. But the name I've been screaming a lot about is Steve Avila, and I still like him. I'm not saying he's more of a little bit of a reach at 26. But right now, guys, he's Steve Avila and Kansas State cornerback Julius Brents. These are two names that have come up as potential late first-round picks. Now, for the Cowboys, cornerback Julius Brent's not going to be the guy, but Steve Avila from TCU, maybe. In fact, here's what they said about him, guys. Basically, he has a lack of consistent options in the NFL. There's a lack of consistent options at the offensive line. You've said this, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to the Senior Bowl, there was a lot of lack of talent in the Senior Bowl on the offensive line.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, those two problems kind of compound on themselves. Right. Because if there's a general lack within the NFL, and then this next draft class is nowhere near talented enough to help fill those holes, and again, that to me is one of the things where, okay, so do we see a transition in the sense of, as O-lines get shittier, do you see other positions stepping up to help fill some of those gaps? Right? The same way that when our O-line wasn't doing so great, we used Zeke to help block. Or we used our tight ends to help block a little more. Yeah. So I'm just trying to give you examples.
That's why Darnell Wright's important.
That's where we can see trends.
I mean, Darnell Washington,
that's how the O-line situation can affect other trends. And that's how you can make running backs maybe more relevant again. If you have a really solid blocking running back that can help your O-line kind of... I'm just trying to...
I know, but you don't want a running back that's going to be blocking, and then after you're getting a first-round running back that blocks. I'm just trying to say, that's why Darnell Washington... Darnell Washington, that'd be a waste. The Darnell Washington pick, though, the Cowboys might skip on the offensive line a little bit if they get Darnell in the second. Just think about that for a second, because Darnell Washington's like another offensive lineman, and he can block fantastic. For a tight end, phenomenal. But here's the thing with Avila... Baby, again, the lack of consistent interior offensive linemen, Osiris and that Schmidt guy are the only guys really close to him or in the same, really, they're all in the same area. They're all three of them are at the same, the highest levels when it comes to interior offensive linemen. But the key here is, guys, lack of consistent options at the inside, center and guard spots. And Avila played fantastic in the Senior Bowl. That boosted his stock for this draft as well. He's very athletic as well. We talked about his high RAS score. So the two teams that are looking at Avila at the end of the draft, the Saints and the Dallas Cowboys. So this has been documented by multiple sources. So if you're wondering who the Cowboys may pick, with Darnell Washington there and even Darnell Wright, and this guy, that guy, Avila is a key piece for the Cowboys.
First or second round, the Cowboys are going O-line one way or the other.
I think
it's just a matter of how does the first round play out, and how does that impact our, the offensive lineman we get.
Correct. I agree. Interesting.
I'm definitely on that board. So real quick, let me go ahead and hit up the chat one last time. Again, the final little commercial break here at MCF to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Make sure that's the only way you can make sure 100% sure, outside of following us on Twitter, social media, hopping in our Discord, so you don't miss a live stream, guys. And of course, we might be Mr. MCF, Mrs. MCW, but we're not just doing this by ourselves here. Thank you guys, everyone here in the chat, hanging with us, supporting us, of course, dropping the love as well, like our sponsor of the week, SnugX, representing not just sponsor of the week, the Cash App King, and Marco Seppi, still bossing that stream around, though.
87 points. Still got it. They didn't move since the kickoff of the stream, but he still got that spot for 8 weeks, I think, right now. And if you look at the leaders, Marco Sepian's the leader on the overall board. SnugX has got that crown, but there's someone coming after it right now, and it's Trent M., all the way from Australia, repping that star. He reps that star in Australia over everything. So much love to Trent, much love to Snug, much love to Marco Sepian, skeptical fan. Everybody here chilling with us on the usual here on MCF, My Cowboys Family, as we do another Fan Friday, a quicker one, although it's still, we just talk forever here on MCF. We love our Cowboys. We love talking about it. One, so. It's always about that star over everything. So any last words in the chat? Yeah,
let me do the final shout-outs and comments. Right? Drums and Cowboys said, if the Eagles pick BIJAN, we're going to see him twice a year with our suspect running game. I don't want to find out that he's good the hard way.
I don't want to pick him up just because the Eagles might get him as well, right? That's all my point. And in 5 years, if the Eagles re-sign him, it'll be a stupid move. And he's going to pay a lot, not just for Jalen Hurts, but for a running back.
In a weird way, I actually think it would make more sense for the Eagles to try to go after Bijan than
take less
for
hits
us
for Hurts.
Personally.
They need to keep Hurts healthy.
Bijan. Just
the Eagles need to keep Bijan. The Eagles need to keep Jalen Hurts healthy. Bijan can take those hits, but Bijan can take hits and is unbelievable in the open field. Unbelievable. He's like Pollard and Zeke in one, in a way.
So real quick, Texas Twister, much love. He said, it's okay. We got Taco, and he didn't work out. We have to go and win now mode.
But we lost T.J. Watt. And imagine the difference it would have been for the Cowboy defense if we had T.J. Watt instead of Taco. It's a major. It was a major hit for us that it hurt our. Now where are we at with the interior defensive line? A lot of those had to do with the bad pick in Taco, bad pick in Tristan Hill. A lot of other ones too.
Much love, Beast Mode. He said Avila would be the long-term replacement for Biadish for sure. Chris Blumage,
he can play center and guard. Yep.
He said, stop by for a quick visit. Always great contact. Good night, SCF MCW.
Appreciate
Brandon James Shea said he would draft Bijan and go
join the crowd, right? I mean, 85% of you guys, 80% of you guys said Bijan one way or the other, yes or yes or yeah.
So Ronaldo Rodriguez, take it easy. Have a great night.
South Texas repping.
Let me see. Beast Mode, much love. Bruce got the toxic juice. Said, how do I change my vote to Darnell Wright? So, unfortunately, the vote is locked in, baby. Why don't you go ahead and end the poll real quick while I do the shout outs?
Yeah, of course.
But honestly, that's. I think that there's a lot of ways for us to do
86%.
Solidly.
80% said yes, and only 12% said no on Bijan. Wow. Well, hopefully, more people can understand what I'm saying and why I'm saying it, and understand I respect and love Bijan Robinson, what he can do out there in college, but also know the value is not there for the first round running back. For any running back, it could be Superman. It ain't worth it. And I gave you guys examples last night. Watch it if you missed it. Money-wise and effectiveness in the run game tonight, I give you 4 other reasons. Play action doesn't make a difference. Helping your defense run the ball in time position don't make a difference. Catching the ball in the backfield don't make a difference. Effectiveness of catches don't make a difference. So
reading the comments in the chat doesn't make a difference. I'm messing with you, baby. Let me see. Scorpio, much love.
Gotta speak up.
I can see that. Nate Rosario, much love. Have a great night. Jorge Hernandez, take it easy. Let me see. Drums and Cowboys, much love to you. D-Link representing. We got Big Boy in the house. SnugX, you know why he's here. Daniel Berry, much love. Cassie Stewart, have a great night.
Much love.
Frame Rippers, a.k.a. Voodoo Alpha, much love to you.
Can't wait for that computer, man. On the way, get your computer stuff from Mr. Frame Rippers.
Yes, guys. Go follow him on Instagram.
Yes.
At Frame Rippers with a Z at the end. Dallas Cowboy 92, take it easy. Cameron, have a great night. Let me see. Thomas Garrett, the Superior. Garrett, I know Skeptical Fan was here earlier. Much love. And yes, guys,
we had another Garrett too, didn't we?
Bobby Garrett, yes.
Yeah. Oh, Superior Garrett's in the house tonight.
And
and then our guy, our
missing triplet,
guy.
Garrett.
Yeah, that's our guy, Cowboy Thomas.
So, real quick, guys, yes, we are going to be live for draft night.
All 3 nights.
All 3 nights. Not sure if we're going to be live for the entirety of the last.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
But we usually we've done pretty much all of it.
Yeah, we stick them out to the end. One way or the other, even if we're, we got our VTubers out here. I don't know, VTubers. I don't know. We'll see what happens for the draft. But we are definitely doing all 3 days, and we're going to do. I know I'm going to be here for all the picks, even if I'm sitting here chilling, or you might see us take a break once in a while, because we can't. God forbid we put anything on the screen.
I know.
So I don't want to do that. They might blow a gasket.
Crack the whip.
So either if we walk away from it, it might say you're not allowed to come back to our.
Yeah, our background is
all original photos, by the way, in case YouTube was wondering.
We took these pictures.
Yeah,
these are our pictures.
Yeah, so
anyway.
you can't get us YouTube. Some people were actually demonetized and kicked out because of pictures from behind people, on the walls behind them.
Actually, I remember one time, I think it was you guys in the chat who told us this year, that somebody tried to get a little cute and put something reflective behind them and put NFL games in front of them and try to sit just saying not showing it, right, but they were showing it, and they did eventually get dinged or something. YouTube
and the NFL will definitely try to stop you from doing anything like that. That's why we never really did anything like that. But that was all I got. It was our language. And it was Madden simulations now that we learned this a couple weeks ago. So,
but have a great night, everyone. Take it easy, Brendan. Enjoy your time in sunny Florida.
Yeah, enjoy your fate. You're here in our state here. Yeah, Fan Friday's a wrap. But the weekend's ahead. We're going to skip over tomorrow unless something breaks. And Sunday, we're going to have our conclusion of this week, crown the champions, go through all the weekend information, and then kick off a new week.
Our last, weekly wrap-up. That's it. The next one we do, guys.
Draft day, baby.
We're going to have our players locked and loaded.
Ooh, I can't wait.
In the draft.
Can't wait. By next Sunday, it's all done. We'll have our recap on Sunday and our finale for next week's draft. Entire draft week. We'll have one day of a mock draft on Tuesday. And we're going to have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Boom, 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 boom. Check it here. Cameras on. All reactions and all thoughts on our draft rookies. Can't wait to see what we get in these next, in this next week. Can't wait.
So, baby, why do we do what we do here?
How about you say it today, since you're repping?
Good. It's that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over. Sorry, my star is below.
It's always everything. It's perfect.
I'm Guys, too short. I'm too close to the ground.
Thank you all once again for repping it here with us. Win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly. Bad picks, good picks. We're always still Cowboy fans for life till death, and repping that star over everything here on My Cowboys Family. Here on YouTube for almost 6 years. Never forget the number one thing here, now and forever. As always, say it with us and never forget it. Go Cowboys! Let's get that number 6 and beyond. Come on, guys. Let's do this. Appreciate you guys dropping your knowledge all night long about our Dallas Cowboys. Thank you for that. Thank you for voting. Appreciate everybody once again on that side. Appreciate Skeptical Fan, Trent M, the drops of love from above. We'll be back on Sunday for the closure of the week. So see you then. Don't forget, check in with us then, and we'll get in all the weekend info on our Cowboys. But now it is time to clock out, drop out officially for tonight. As we enjoy our weekends together, guys, stay safe. Much love to everybody. But baby, before we can drop out of here officially, what do we got to do?
We got to drop the beat.
Dun, 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 dun. Guys, thank you again. Repping it here.
Do the bass line in the background.
Thank you. Another one here. MCF, MCW, Cowboys Chat on the 21st, right? National Drug Testing. National Drug Testing Day. April 21st. Anyway, guys, enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Much love to all. And as always, here on My Cowboys Family, never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, go Cowboys!